Hey guys, so today I'm here to do my Christmas/January book haul. These are books that I've gotten in the last month or so, for instance my last book haul. Mostly from Christmas. I got a $100 Barnes & Noble gift card from my parents. And so obviously I spent that, and then other books that I've bought, and I also have a ton of books that I've gotten on my Kindle. That's the first thing I'm going to show you. There's just been a lot of Kindle deals. I'm still probably going to get more because they just keep coming up, and books I want to read that are like $1.99. And it'll be perfect because next semester, I mentioned it in my last video, but next semester I'm studying abroad in Austria. So it'll be nice to have all these books on my Kindle preloaded and ready for me to read, and this will be handy for travel. So I'm just going to show you those first. The first book that I want to show you is Say What You Will by Cami McGovern. I've heard really good things about this book. It's described as kind of like Eleanor and Park. I guess it's about a girl who has some physical disability, and then the guy has, I think, OCD or something. I don't know. But I've heard really good things about it, and I'm really excited to read it. And it was $1.99, and I couldn't pass that deal up. Next book I have is Uninvited by Sophie Jordan. I don't know too much about this book either. I know it's a dystopian, but I've heard really good things about it, and it was cheap, so I got it. Pretty much all these Kindle books, they were cheap, so I got them. The next book that I have is The Madman's Daughter by Megan Shepherd. I don't know too much about this one either, but once again, it was cheap, so yeah. The next book I got is Open Road Summer by Emery Lord. This is a summery contemporary. I think it's about a band who goes on tour, and yeah, so it sounds really cool. The next book is Better Off Friends by Elizabeth Eulberg. This book has, I think, two people who are friends and they kind of fall in love, I guess. I don't really know too much about this one either. The next book I got is Where She Went by Gail Forman. This is the sequel to If I Stay, which I read earlier this year. I just never got around to picking this up, so I decided to get it on Kindle because it was like super cheap. But I really do want to read this soon because I really did enjoy If I Stay. I still need to see the movie. The next book that I have is Jacoby by William Ritter. I don't know too much about this, but I was watching a haul and someone told me that it's described as Sherlock meets Doctor Who, and as soon as I heard that, I went to Goodreads immediately and marked it as to read. I didn't even really read the synopsis. I think it's a mystery, like they're solving a case like Sherlock Holmes. I don't really completely know, but it sounds cool. I mean, Doctor Who meets Sherlock, you can't go wrong. The next book is The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. This is the first book in the Chaos Walking trilogy, and I've heard nothing but good things about this trilogy. Everyone loves it, and I've been wanting to read it for a while. It's been on my wish list for forever, but I've never gotten around to buying it, but I saw it on Kindle for $1.99, and I couldn't pass it up. The next book is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I don't know too much about this. I know that it's set on Mars and that the author looks like this. Yeah, that's the only reason I bought it. No shame. And the next one I got is Side Effects May Vary by Julie Murphy. This book I've been kind of hesitant to read because the premise, it's about a girl who has cancer and she makes a bucket list of all these things to like do to people she doesn't like. And then she goes into remission and she has to deal with the consequences. And I initially didn't really like that premise, but it was $1.99, and I've heard mixed things, but I decided to go ahead and try it and see for myself. And the last book that I got on Kindle was Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This is free. It's in the public domain, so it was a free ebook. And I've read the abridged version a couple of times. It was one of my favorite books when I was little, but I haven't read the full version. And I started watching the web series, the March Letters. What is it called? I don't remember what it's called, but I'll put what it is right here. It's by the same people that made the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. And so I've just been really interested in reading the actual book, and it's been a long time since I've even read the abridged one, so I'm really excited to read it. And plus I want to read more classics because I haven't been reading many classics lately because I haven't been in English classes, so yeah. Now on to the physical books. The first one I have to show you is Zodiac by Romina Russell. I did a review on this, so if you want to know more about it, you can click it. The link will be right here, and it'll be down in the description below. But it was really good. It's a sci-fi book set in space, and it's based on the zodiac signs, and it was really interesting. But I'll talk more about it in my wrap-up. The next book I won in a giveaway from Mom to Triplets 04. This is the second giveaway from her I've won. It's really funny. But I won The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith, who is also J.K. Rowling. This is an adult crime, I think, novel, and I've been really interested in reading it because it's by J.K. Rowling, and I've heard good things. And yeah, I'll link Mom to Triplet 04's channel down below. You should go check her out. I really like her videos. But yeah, I'm really excited to get to this, even though it's pretty long, and I don't read much adult fiction, but I've been wanting to read more, so this will be a good start. The next book I want to show you is Talon by Julie Kagawa. This was actually my sister's book, but I've decided to go ahead and haul it because I'm interested in reading it too. It's a book about dragons, and I believe it's set in modern times, which is interesting because most of the time dragon books are set in like medieval fantasy times. But she read it and she really enjoyed it, so hopefully I'll be able to read this at some point. The rest of these books I believe I got with my gift card that my mom gave me, and my aunt also gave me a gift card to Barnes & Noble, so I had like $120 to spend. And so I got quite a few books, so I'm going to show you those. So the first book I have is Unspoken by Sarah Rees Brennan. I've heard good things about this. I'm not 100% sure what this is about. It sounded interesting. The plot sounded interesting from what I remember. And yeah. And it was actually only $8.99. Usually you don't find paperbacks for $8.99. Next book I got is Paper Towns by John Green. I've only read one book by John Green, and that's The Fault in Our Stars, and it's one of my favorite books of all time. But his other books, the premises just didn't really particularly interest me, except this one kind of did, and plus it's being made into a movie, and so I really want to read it. I've heard really good things about it, so hopefully I can get to this soon. The next book I have is Love Letters to the Dead by Ava DeLara. I've heard good things about this. I've heard it being compared to Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I read a couple years ago, and it was alright. It wasn't my absolute favorite, but I decided I'm going to give this one a try. The next book I have is Trial by Fire by Josephine Angelini. I've heard really good things about this from Becca Awesome Booknut. I think it's kind of Salem Witch Trials. I think it's set in like Salem, Massachusetts. So I think it has something to do with the Salem Witch Trials. I know it's a fantasy, but I've heard really good things, and I'm really excited to get to this. How many times can I say that? I'm excited for all of these, basically. The next book I have to show you is Zack and Mia by A.J. Betts. I've read this one already. It's a cancer book, and it's actually by an Australian author, and it's set in Australia, which is really neat because I haven't read any books set in Australia. But yeah, it was really good. I would definitely recommend it for fans of The Fault in Our Stars or Eleanor and Park. And the next book I have is The Jewel by Amy Ewing, and I read this one too, and I really enjoyed it. I had heard mixed things about it, but it's probably the best dystopian I've read in a long time. I'll talk more about it in my wrap-up. But anyway, yeah, and this cover is gorgeous. I just love this cover. And now it's time for the unboxing!
So they separated my order, even though I ordered it all in one go. So, I don't know, but we'll see. Oh, this has been torn open, so I hope the book's okay. It's already had a hole in it.
The book I have is The Fall by Bethany Griffin. This is a retelling of The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, which I had to read in English class like a couple years ago, and I really liked it. It was really creepy, but I thought I would give this a go because I loved that short story. I'm excited to read this one, and I haven't heard too much about it, but what I've heard has been good. Now for my other box.
Get my scissors out.
The first book I see is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. This is a sequel to Throne of Glass. I read Throne of Glass last summer, and it was alright. It wasn't my favorite, but I've heard the series gets better, and I know it's a lot of people's favorite series, and so I really wanted to continue, so I went ahead and bought this, and hopefully I get to read it at some point, because I want to find out, because I know with the Mortal Instruments, I read City of Bones, and I didn't really like it, but I continued, and now it's Cassandra Clare is one of my favorite authors, so hopefully that'll happen with this one too, but yeah, hopefully I can get to this. The last book in this haul is 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. I don't know too much about this one, but this was a cover buy. This cover's gorgeous. It's about a girl who travels through alternate universes, I think, and it sounds really interesting, and it's the Carpe Librum's book of the month, and so yeah, I can read it alongside them. So that's all the books that I've gotten in December and January. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again next time. Goodbye!